Oh, welcome, welcome, lovely Michelle.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful that you're here because I know that we all have so many beautiful gifts and we all, I guess, have this wonderful mission to help mums.
Yes.
There's so many beautiful mums and they have their children and then they go, gosh, this motherhood thing is bloody difficult.
I know.
Let's create a really beautiful program to help mums. So I really value your time and I would love for you to share with all the mamas who are listening or watching these episodes, what
hmm
you do.
So, as I mentioned, as you've mentioned, Lainey, I coach and mentor mums to basically get down to who they are. And the reason why I work in that particular space in terms of our identity as mothers is it shifts
Yes.
from the person we are in high school when we enter the big wide world and we have all these dreams and aspirations, and then we meet the person that we desire to be with or desire to have a family with, and then we fall pregnant and we go through a transition in pregnancy. And our society nowadays really, I think, sets us up sometimes to turn around and go, oh great, I can have it all, I can be exactly the same person as I was pre-kids to post-kids. And it's that transition, and that's really where I focus when I work with my clients is, who am I now that I'm a mum? Then there's elements of my old self, and there's elements of my new self, and how do I bring all those together in a balance for me that allows me to have that life that I want to create without that pull towards I should be focused on my career or I should be focused on my family. And if I'm in one of those two spaces, I feel guilty.
Yep.
Because I'm not being the person I want to be for everyone that I feel is important in my life.
Absolutely. I mean, when I reflect back on before I had kids, I'm like, who are you? Who were you? Like, it's such first world problems, isn't it? Where it's like,
I know.
You actually think, wow, what did I do with all my time? And I mean, it's all a journey and there's no criticism or judgment around that. And I had a very joyful life. It's not like there was struggle there. I traveled the world and went to 65 countries I think I've been to. Like, I've really traveled a lot and it was wonderful. But I guess, you reflect on the issues that you kind of created for yourself.
Yes.
And you think, wow, they were just so of no significance to where you are now, and the hats and the juggle and the emotion that comes with blending motherhood and business. So I think, reflection is wonderful, and it is just such a journey. It is not a destination.
No, definitely not. And that's certainly one of those things that I discovered. I had my first baby, I went back to work. They put me into a different role than what I left. And it was even another different role to what I was promised, because I thought that would work best for me and my family. So, and it was one of those things that should be grateful that you've got this position to come back to and everything else. So it was quite a struggle coming back after my first child. And then I got that dream job and was offered, and then the very next day I found out I was pregnant with my second child. And I went to my new manager in tears because I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was apologizing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's like, no, it's cool. It's fine. You just keep doing what you're doing. And, you're not having the baby tomorrow. So, but these whole expectations of, I said yes to my dream job, and now I'm going to have 2 children. And how am I going to make all this work, and those expectations and the unconscious bias that went with that. I worked, I was an engineering solutions consultant. So I worked with men. So it was perceived to be a weakness that I was pregnant, amongst other things. And I had someone actually suggest to me that I should go work in the call center when I returned from maternity leave. And so here I was trying to blaze a career as a female in a male-dominated profession and create this balance and have it all by that whole, I don't know where we've derived the definition from. And then I had felt like I was just constantly hitting these doors and these walls with people basically saying, well, I don't believe you can. And so,
Yeah.
it's such that emotional roller
Yeah.
coaster.
Do you know, I saw something on Facebook yesterday. It's been shared a lot, and it's basically was Amal Clooney, so the international rights lawyer who has such a brilliant brain, and she's standing there addressing the UN, talking about serious immigrant issues and ISIS, and really like. And do you know what? All the headlines said, "Look at Amal Clooney with her little baby bump in her yellow dress because she's obviously having George Clooney's baby." And it was outrageous. It was like, look at her stepping out in New York to go to work in her matching outfit with her jacket and her baby bump. Like, he's about to step up and speak to the UN about some incredibly serious issues in the world. And the four major newspapers like the Daily Sun, the Sun, the Herald, all of the more of the trashier papers focused on her baby bump. And you're like, is this really the society that we live in? Like, outrageous, really outrageous. And I really feel there's such a space for women to, be able to be seen for the greatness that they are, irrelevant of whether they decide to have children or not. Yes, that's one hat that we wear. And it's a privilege for us to birth children into this world. But it's not to the detriment of our incredibly successful careers and gifts. It made me really, really angry, actually. I was like, that's very demeaning that all the, the four major newspapers are just reflecting on the fact that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for her. But she's a seriously intelligent, beautiful, smart woman who's changing the world at the same time.
Yeah, and that's the frustration and part of and I was reading something. Sorry, that's just my dog in the background.
Okay, we love dogs. We love the furry friends.
There's no kids today.
Yeah.
But, it was one of those things that having a family and juggling as a working dad is seen as an asset in the workplace. But when you're juggling as a working mum, it's going to be a detriment.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things that propels us as mothers to, we're trying to shine so brightly at work in our career and as mothers and as, all these other myriad of roles that we have, that we lose sight of actually who we are in that mix because we're so busy trying to project ourselves to be the perfect career mama or the perfect biz mama or the perfect mum. And then the footy mum and the school mum and all those things as our children grow older, our roles evolve with them as well, that we get lost in the mix and our balance is driven by everyone else but us.
Yeah, and we all know that, look, let's face it, the perfect mother just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. And I think the more we embrace that, the more freeing that is. We are not striving to be perfect because it's an illusion that's portrayed to us by judgments and expectations of other people's imperfections. Whether this comes from our childhood or whether this comes from the societal pressure that gets put on us as mothers, it's completely ridiculous to have. I believe you can have a successful business and you can be a beautiful mother and you can blend the two and it can be joyful, but of course it's not perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
It's absolutely not perfect. And this is where I feel there are so many women who have babies and their whole life changes and their whole career changes and their whole purpose changes because they birth a baby and they birth creativity and they birth all these ideas. And then they're sort of left floundering around trying to find that sense of the world again.
Yeah.
There is amazing support out there, and I'm very grateful for people like you and for the other mamas that have stepped up and shone their light in this series. But the themes are all so similar. It's like we want to have a great career and be successful and shine our gifts into the world, but we also want to do this by having mindful children who, feel like mummy is there and mummy loves them and they're supported and guided. And it's such a yo-yo between the two. So what's been your biggest struggle in being able to have this blend?
I think one of the biggest struggles is whenever you're looking out into the wider world, this image you know, everyone knows that there's no such thing as perfect motherhood and perfect career and life balance. But you go on social media, you go on Instagram, you read articles in the paper, you watch TV shows, and it's just humming along, and everyone's happy and la-di-da, and off we go, and there's not a problem. And, if there is, it's easy fixed, and here we go. But the reality in finding that balance and that blend and that juggle is that sometimes it's so goddamn messy.
Yes, layers.
But no one will say that it's messy. So what we're all feeding off is comparing ourselves to what this person turns around and says, I've got my shit and all sorted out, and here we go. But reality, and I used to joke about it when I was at work, because people go, you've got it all. And the reality was I was falling apart. I was having a breakdown. And I was a duck, smooth, calm and collected on the top, and my legs under the water were going a million miles an hour. But would I tell anyone? No. Why? Because I was so scared of being judged and compared to other women and other people in the organisation or other mothers that had it all together, that I just looked at that and went, well, I can't say that something's wrong. I can't say it's imperfect. So that whole comparison of, well, look how great they're doing in their business and in their parenting and everything else. And then you look in the mirror and you go, well, what have you got to show? Yep. Where are you at?
And now through your own journey of self-discovery that these women were feeling exactly the same.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly the same. They're like, oh, look at me with my perfect life, but inside I'm dying, right? I just feel I have no connection. And I did this incredible training at the weekend, which was all about intuitive intelligence and being fearless. And it was really interesting because it was all about, you can say positive affirmation, you can have positive thoughts.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling on the inside that you're, really going to have a breakdown, that's what you're manifesting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're sending out into the universe. The universe only feels you, right? It's vibration.
Yep.
It doesn't listen to the words. And same with your children. You can be put on your happy face and everything's fine, but they know feel you, right? So they're magnifying that energy. And I think we get to that point where we do actually almost need the breakdown to get the breakthrough.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, for me, it was my divorce, but for other people, it's and other things that happen to them where they kind of go into this place of darkness where they have to then find the light. And comparison is something that we all do, for us to say, oh no, I have no judgment. I look at other people and I just feel happy for them. And it's like, well, I fully have it too. I feel jealous of some people. I look at what they're doing and I get this, why? Well, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really, I guess, wrong with that unless it's harming us. So being inspired by other women is wonderful. I know that there are women who have 6-figure businesses and they have their children and everything seems to be flowing, but I know they have their own struggle as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't aspire to have that or set that intention to have that. But when we compare ourselves to others on this deep level, what we're doing is being very attached to outcomes.
Yes.
And when we're really attached to outcomes, we're actually blocking happiness because we're focusing so much on something that may not even happen for us. And so this practice of non-attachment to the outcome and even when we compare ourselves to others, it actually leaves us feeling really deflated.
Yeah very much so. And that was in the roles that I had, they were so outcome driven in the corporate world of these are your KPIs, this is what you need to make the time frame. I used to work on multi-million-dollar tenders, so it was so the outcome was clear, the time frame and the hours and the effort that I used to put in for someone who worked part-time.
Yes, of course.
And it was just that, well, this is what I believe the expectation is, and that outcome focus, I've got to get there because for me to be successful, this is what that looks like.
Yep.
And that was a big part of it as well, is what is my success look like?
Yeah.
What is success for me in that mix? And that helps you know, one of the things that I guess I've done a lot more recently is start to define my own success metrics. Beautiful. As opposed to looking outside and going, well, you know, if I look at someone and I go, that's the kind of business I'd like. Okay, so their success metrics are probably different to my success metrics. Yeah. And exactly what you were saying as well, focus on the journey, that process of getting there and doing it in a way that's aligned with what we need and desire most in our lives, rather than this is the way to do it.
Yep. It's different for everyone. I actually wrote an article around success and what the success means to people. And yes, for some people it is 100% having the $1 million business. Absolutely. They are priding themselves on earning money. And that's wonderful if that makes them happy and fills their soul. Probably doesn't fill their soul, and they may get to a point where they realize that in their life. But for me, when I look at the success that I'd had in my personal life with finding my soulmate, having a daughter I'd always wanted, it was all about things that money can't buy in terms of my joy and happiness. Absolutely, this year I'm focusing on money. Absolutely, this year I've had a big shift in my business and I do want to bring in the income, because that now plays a part in my feelings of success. But it's not necessarily that for everybody. And so I think defining what success means to you is so important. It may just be to have a group of sisters that you hang out with each month that hold you up. That may be success for you, that you found your tribe. You know, it may be publishing a book. It may be working with clients and knowing that you've helped them in some small way to find happiness in their own lives. I think defining success is really key to your happiness levels.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's very different for everyone. And it changes because we are evolving beings. We are actually here to awaken. We are here to evolve. We are here to bring in this new age of Aquarius. And this is happening on across the planet, across the universe. This is our goal. And it's for us to do that, to have this human experience, as we are spiritual beings having a physical human experience. This is a journey that we're on. And we have to have the struggle to find the joy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely. So, you know, it is not just, I do compare, but then I go, okay, I would love to be like this woman. You know, I aspire to be like this woman. That's okay. But if I feel real jealousy around someone, I kind of stop, practice compassion, because it's to myself.
Yes. Yeah.
And go, okay, just take a breath, take a moment, because when I compare myself to others, that takes away my happiness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what are your big dreams and goals? Like what would you love to be doing with your time? If money and time, you know, were no issue.
I love this question.
Yeah, I love this question. Well, you know, what would you be doing?
What I'd be doing is I'd be working with mamas to be and mamas in the workplace to really take this message into corporate, and not just working with them, but working with, you know, their leadership team to make that transformative change, because there's so much we can do with an individual. And, you know, I do that with my clients at the moment is, you know, what's success for you? How are we going to create this balance? What's important? But then they step into the workplace and it's, you know, this is really similar to what I experienced. You do all this work on yourself and you step into an environment that's not shifting. And it is so hard to remain integrous to who you are and who you desire to be. And so
integrity, that's a great word, isn't it?
Yeah. And so I really want to start to move this into organizations to say it's one thing to support your mothers through this transition. Let's support the people that support her from a leadership perspective to make that transition smooth as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's like the big one for me.
That's so wonderful, and it's so needed. I think the women who are in corporate and do have very successful careers, and then they have a baby, and I've spoken about this with many of the mamas I've interviewed, they almost need it the most, because the element of shock and control, it's enormous when a little baby comes into your world.
Yeah.
You know, to try and the outcome is, it's just, there is no outcome anymore.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how many books you read or how many people you talk to, you get this little bundle, and, you know, all of my babies had reflux. So they were all screamy babies, and I was such the organized person, and and we do this time and that. And then all of a sudden, you know, I get this little screamy baby, and my eldest took 3 months to be diagnosed, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I knew there was something wrong, but I kept on being told, no, you're just overreacting. You're a first-time mum. And it's this whole, well, it's the first time, so I don't know what's normal, what's not. So it seeds that doubt in our own natural abilities. And then we go back to the workforce, and we might be passed over for things or not offered because, you know, sometimes people are well-intentioned in that, and they go, well, you know, you've got a baby, so I thought you didn't want to come to this. But again, then that plants that seed of doubt in us, in our ability as a working mum. Like, oh, maybe, you know, what they say is right. You know, half a brain's gone because, you know, I'm now a mum. And, you know, I had guys joke about that, and I used to go, and it's like, you know what? No, it's not funny. Like,
apparently it does shrink by 5% though.
So
your brain.
But you know, it's not about the size, right? It's never about the size. It's what
we have bigger brains anyway. Like, and women need more sleep. I've seen that women, to function at, you know, the capacity that we want to be lifted up, actually need 20 minutes more sleep than men. But who gets up in the night?
Yes.
Who cares for the babies? Like 24/7. You know, regardless of whether they're at care or not, you're still picking them up and doing most of the work. And that's another expectation. So in our house, we are fully 50-50. In fact, my partner probably, because he's not working at the moment, he's actually really doing most of the parenting and the cooking in his undies. Oh, so gorgeous. But it's like, I said to him, I'm going to be out there and I'm going to be working in this time until you get a job.
Yeah.
And it's been a really beautiful shift in our house for me to actually go, oh, I don't have to worry about the washing up. I don't have to worry about cooking. And he's really enjoyed that role. And I know it will change, of course. Yeah, of course it will change. But it's actually, I really have loved that break. And it's like, I know, I keep saying to him, I know that you're, like, he may have to work away, right? Our husband's actually, well, Yako's not my husband yet, but, you know, they're in a similar industry, right? So they may have to work away. And it's like that, I'm okay with that, but I know that while he's here, it's like I'm so grateful for him being here.
Yeah. And we had the same, and, you know, and I feel like we shouldn't have to say that I'm fortunate that I've got a husband that will get up in the middle of the night or take a carer's leave day yesterday because I had some project deadlines. And so instead of going, well, you run your business from home, you can juggle, you know, it's like, no, you got project deadlines. I've got carer's leave. I'll take carer's leave.
Yeah, great.
And to have that and go, great, I can actually focus on my business and meeting, you know, the commitments that I've got there.
That's beautiful.
Without having to stress is great, because there is sometimes this assumption that, well, you're the mother. You'll take the hit. You'll take the time. You won't sleep during the night because they're sick, or you'll be working late because you're trying to catch up on everything, but you'll still take the day off, and then you'll do everything else on top of that. So, you know, being able to have people support you to achieve what you want is so important. And it has to, you know, has to come from all angles. It's not just our partners and our husbands. It's, you know, it's within the workplace, or if we have partners in our businesses or whatever it is, it's across all those facets.
Absolutely. It really is so important to feel that sense of support, whether it's your local community, whether it's your family, or whether it's just a virtual online hub that you tune into and you feel really inspired by that. So I think we've touched on some amazing themes of, you know, living without judgment, not comparing ourselves to others, because it really does hurt us, and not being so attached to the outcomes of other people's goals and dreams, because they're not yours. And what does success mean for you, which I think is so important to define that. It could just be to just feel joy every day, because some people don't. You know, so feel that joy and be really grateful for that joy, and be in that space of love and care and compassion and gratitude as often as you can, because that's how we find more joy. So a big lesson for me has to really start to practice non-attachment, which is very Buddhist. I love Buddha. He's my friend.
Yeah.
And so I, like, every day I'm looking at him going, non-attachment to the outcomes of my children's behavior, of whether Yaka gets a job, of whether I get clients. It's big. It's really big, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, I don't have to control this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the root of everyone's suffering. I'm not the root cause of everyone's suffering, which is a deep belief that so many women have from ancestral lineage and years of shame. And you know, I'm not the problem. What if there is no problem? This was a big teaching I learned recently. You know, when we participate in the problem, that's not fixing the problem. That's, you know, it's like, just by not participating in it actually prevents it from being a problem.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, we're so solution driven, and we try to fix everything all the time, but it's like, we'll just let it be.
Yeah. What if there's nothing to be fixed?
Absolutely, right? Because life will flow, but it's our own expectations and judgments that get in the way of that actually flowing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've really loved having this conversation with you. It's such a real and honest conversation that I'm so proud of the mamas coming onto this show and really stepping up and saying, well, look, this is the reality. You know, it's complete nonsense what everyone else is doing and what the media says we should be doing, because this is me and this is my life.
Yeah.
And this is how I feel. So thank you so much for sharing. And the mamas listening and watching, I'm sure they will want to come and connect with you. How can they find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can find me on social media by looking up Speed of Life Coaching, or connect with me directly, Michelle Keeffe, or on my website, www.speedoflifecoaching.com.au.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So wonderful.
It has been great.
Been a little bit snotty today, but that's just, you know, that's just life.
Yes.
I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the Magnetic Mama group.
Sounds wonderful.